and cities, and in general among also other European cities. That's the reason for which, for example, today we have also the city of Padova. That is not a Civitas cities, but it's an interesting case study for this webinar. And the thematic groups are exactly built with the purpose of fostering the dialogue and also for sharing expertise and experiences all around Europe, and also with the idea of connecting urban mobility practitioners and professionals that works on a certain area or on a certain topic into a community. And to this aim, we are also trying to relaunch, reload the Civitas website, civitas.eu, that you can find still in a beta version, and this website is now designed also to accommodate all the thematic groups with some more tailored web pages, also with new features like a new interactive platform, and obviously with the possibility to register and to become a member of a group, as well as to upload also your profile, contact details, and also some experiences. So I warmly ask you to create your account on the new Civitas website, and also to see if there's a thematic group that is linked or is closer to your expertise and areas of work. This webinar is in fact organized by the Civitas Support Action Civitas Wiki, but within the activities related to the thematic group safety and security. And you can clearly also see all the details about this webinar into the Civitas website and in the area of the thematic group safety and security also after the webinar. I mean, you can find all the presentations, all the questions and answers, and also to watch again, because we are also recording this webinar. So after this brief introduction, I think we can now start with the webinar, and I just wanted to mention the title. The title is "Revolutionary Roads," that we took from a novel written by the American writer Richard Yeats in the 60s, and I think it gives us a good entry point to one of the greatest challenges that most cities are facing today. So the need of changing or also transforming streets in order to balance the presence of different mobility and the mobility of different group users, like car drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, express couriers, public transport, etc. And to this aim, we will see three interesting approaches from the city of Padova in Italy, the city of Vitoria-Gasteiz in Spain, and from Nantes in France. So I think it's time now to give the floor, or at least the microphone, to Alberto Marescotti, who is the manager of the planning office within the Mobility and Traffic Department of the municipality of Padova. Alberto will introduce us to the experience of the city of Padova. So I kindly ask Alberto to upload his presentation and to start with the intervention.
Yeah, Alberto, if your screen is ready, I will give you the presenter and I will unmute you. Is okay? Is your screen ready? Alberto? Is your screen ready? Are you ready?
It's maybe not.
Okay.
Okay. So I
the
give
screen
you.
is ready. Okay.
Yeah, I give you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. I speak about my city, Padua, and the experience on traffic calming and cyclist development in the 10 years from 2003 to 2030. It's okay. Si è bloccata. Okay. About the conquer your town, how to write Padua. Padua is the city of the distance 40 kilometers from Venice, is known as the city of the three without, the saint without name, the coffee without doors, and the dough without grass. Padua has a compact historic center with a system of squares, of lords, herbs, fruits, and cathedral. And now some numbers about the concept. 2,000 inhabitants. I prefer that the slides seems the numbers. 160 roundabouts. 75 with cyclist facilities, 40,000 pedestrian cycling races crossing, 162 kilometers of cyclist roads, and 1,050 trips in bicycle, has 18% of modal split. There is the network of cycle roads in 10 years. Then the development of roundabouts in 10 years, and the pedestrian raised crossing this kind of interventions carried out of 10 years have achieved the results of on the reduction of urban accidents. Pedestrian, cyclist, minus 13 in 3 years, in the last 3 years. And in this slide, the comparison with the national statistic, Padua from 2003 to 2009 has been a reduction of accidents that was essentially twice respect the national average. In particular, the study on pedestrian crossing and bicycle wrecks. This has been accomplished at a point where speed is registering. With the construction was measured speed reduction over 24 hours. During peak hours, the reduction is practically nothing. At other time, the decline is average less than 30 kilometers per hour. The plan of cyclability in 2009 is also a communication tool. There were 2 editions of training courses for 50 technicians from various administrations. The plan was presented to the citizen by a theatrical performance. Maybe beautiful English. schifezza. Allora. With the plan was started the bike sharing project, which sees Padua with 28 stations and 2,050 bicycles. Now, after 4 months, the service has 2,000 members and 500 samples per day. The plan offers a lot of technical indication, cost for 17 types of cycle routes, and the development of cycle-specific indication signs. For children, there are a dozen of routes homeschooled. In the plan, there are specific indications, guidelines on the design for solution in private urbanization plan project. In particular, are studied solutions for pedestrian and cyclist crossing. These samples show facilities for cyclists ranging from bike lanes, one-way streets, and against vehicular traffic. This sample shows the use of design, colors, solution in bus stop. In these cases, the track separated from traffic. These are solutions for cyclists in the roundabout to approach with a cycle lane and with a crossing sign more complex in construction and maintenance. This is the most significant examples where the large roundabout, 32 meters of diameter, in which the cyclists were accommodated in a private, reserved and external home with specific crossing signs. The example shows the 3 steps of construction through the traffic lights and the roundabout provisional and definitive work. Roadworks can also become urban redevelopment even if they remain places of transit vehicles. And solution of traffic calming may be opportunities to creation of urban spaces. This square has been designed with a deviation of the historical road. With a background of design of Paul Klee, were planted 6 new trees instead of none. Thanks to a competition that involved the Art School of Padua on the theme of bicycle, were made 8 boxes that remain over time, at least since 2007. This case shows a suburb of Padua has been reborn in 2080, a participatory process between citizens and municipal administration, which lasted almost 3 years since the end of 2005, and that has allowed us to achieve a number of interventions required known and expected by residents. Public meetings, debates, participatory planning, management of conflicts between residents, traders, district and municipality, and on the uses of those living in the area. The winning elements of the participatory process were strong identity and sense of belonging of the area by residents and local business, climate positive and proactive citizens, ability to manage the process by which the district has hired an association specialized, coordination of the activities of participation, confluence of loans from the company of underground and by the municipality for the neighborhood and the mobility. A reasonable time in the organization of the different phases of design, execution and custody of working, good coordination between the activities of municipal departments and professional capacity of the companies involved in the works. Excellent skills of local companies in proposing initiatives and innovative materials in contemporary urban quality. Thank you. My English is...
Thanks, thanks, Alberto. No, I think it's good. It's good to have somebody who really has a role in a city like Padova, like you, because it's exactly the scope of the thematic groups, to bring together those people who works, so who are exactly not only designing solutions or making some dissemination activities, but exactly have the knowledge also of the various issues. I like a lot exactly also the process that you applied in the suburban area of Padova, and also the use of colors for transforming, exactly for transforming roads. So I don't know if you can give us also some indication about for example, about the cost of some intervention that you did in some intersections, and also about the reliability of this painting, crossroads and intersections. Also for having an idea of the maintenance that you need for a certain road, for if it's used by cars or is only for pedestrians. I don't know if you can give us some indication about this.
Yes, the pedestrian raised crossing cost 60 euros per meter. Mm-hmm. With asphalt, painting,
mm-hmm.
And
you can also see this in Italian if you want, and I can translate
in Italian. Ok, allora costa 60 euro al metro quadro mediamente, mm-hmm. Il lavoro finito, mm-hmm. Con l'asfalto e la resina e il termoplastico che è la segnaletica.
Okay. So 60 euro per square meter, including the asphalt, the use of the paint, so the resins, and the thermoplastic is, I don't know if it's a particular paint, I can imagine, or a treatment so that you can have that kind of. So these are the costs. What about the reliability of these interventions? So are they really an alternative? You can see these colors on the streets for years, or it's just something that lasts for a couple of months? So, qual è in termini di durata, insomma?
Di durata, allora la durata media garantita sono 4 anni.
4 years, so they guarantee sì. 4 years.
In condizioni di traffico normale.
in normal car traffic conditions.
Mentre nelle aree pedonali durano tranquillamente più di 10 anni anche.
So in pedestrian areas, the reliability and duration is more than 10 years. So, okay.
Abbiamo fatto un intervento manutentivo, il primo intervento manutentivo su viabilità anche dopo 9 anni. Quindi
so
anche
in the road where 4 years were guaranteed, they had their first maintenance intervention after 9 years. So it seems that it's also a good option also for the road sections used by cars and not only for pedestrians. Okay, so it seems quite interesting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alberto. I don't know if we have, Chiara, other questions for Alberto or from the web chat. Maybe not. Okay. So, thanks a lot, Alberto. And I think we can go. Thanks. I think we can go further with the second presentation from Vittoria Gasteiz. Please just let me introduce you. Juan Carlos Escudero is from the Environmental Study Centers of the Vittoria Gasteiz City Council. We took both the presentation of Vittoria and the other presentation from Nantes, also from some, let's say, live interactions that we experienced in the recent CIVITAS forum in Brest. The following presentation are exactly where the presentation where also some discussion raised up during the forum, and it's also, this is also the reason for which we would like to know more and about the solution that Vittoria developed within the framework also of CIVITAS, but also in general according to their strategy for implementing a sustainable urban mobility plan. So I now give the floor to Juan Carlos, who can introduce also his presentation to us.
Hi, thank you, Cosimo. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank, on behalf of the City of Vitoria-Gasteiz, the CIVITAS Wiki invitation to introduce you the approach of Vitoria-Gasteiz towards sustainable mobility and public space. Revolutionary Roads is the title of the session, and what's true, Vitoria-Gasteiz has experienced a revolution, a smart revolution during last fall. My presentation will focus in the framework supporting such a revolution and dealing with our routes in Vitoria-Gasteiz. Let me introduce briefly some basic facts about Vitoria-Gasteiz, a medium-sized compact city, nowadays with nearly 240,000 inhabitants and with 1.27% of population growth. Located in the north of Spain, the capital of the Basque Country has a municipal area of 277 square kilometers, but being the urban area only 35 square kilometers. Could be more or less 46 homes by hectare in the residential area. What is true, the city, it's really compact, and it's a city where everything is accessible on foot or by...
Sorry,
Yes?
Juan Carlos, I don't know if you because we are not seeing the screen, so I don't know if Chiara can...
There is no screen?
Yeah, Juan Carlos, I can do for you.
Sorry.
If you don't manage, I can do for you.
Okay, now it seems that...
Okay, excuse me, yeah, this is the second one. The first one was only the title slide, so don't worry. Okay, I was introducing briefly some basic facts of the city. And what's important here to highlight is that Vitoria-Gasteiz, being compact, is a city where everything is accessible on foot or by bicycle. Could pass the slide, please? Chiara?
It's you that has to pass the slide.
Chiara?
Juan
Yes.
Carlos, it's you that has to pass the slide.
But I don't know what. Yeah, here. Yeah. Sorry.
You're welcome.
Okay. Here you have, for instance, a clear shape of the city, and really it's a compact city with no more than 3 kilometers from the border to the city center, and inside in this 3 kilometers radius circle lives nearly 98% of the population of Vitoria-Gasteiz. So it's really a flat city, sorry. So really a fantastic city to enjoy it walking or cycling. In order to change some worrying trends we had at the beginning of the 21st century, it was decided to establish a sustainable mobility and public space plan in the city, with the main goal not only of reversing the upward trend in the use of the private car and to transfer car users to public transport and the bicycle, but also as an opportunity to preserve the quality of the public space and giving back the streets to the citizen. This way, the Sustainable Mobility and Public Space Plan established an integrated system of mobility and public space based on the concept of superblocks, a schema that established different networks for each of the transport mode, thereby reducing the conflict between pedestrians, cyclists and vehicle traffic. The idea is to establish a new hierarchy in the roads in order to canalize the through traffic mainly in a select pool of roads, no more than 15 or 20% of the roads in the city, and preserving the rest of the roads as calm areas where the idea is to share the space among the different users of the public space. This is the basic idea of the scheme of the superblocks. This way, this scheme will provide us the opportunity to give back the public space to the citizen. Here you have what could be the allocation of the public space in the before and after scenario once implemented the superblock scheme to the whole city. It will be possible to change the undemocratic share of the public space. And for instance, in the 26 scenario, we had nearly 75% of the public space focused to the private car and only 36% to the rest of the users. The idea is after applying the scheme of the mobility plan and using the framework of the superblock design to revert this distribution and to recover nearly 71% or 70% of the public space to the rest of the user, and focusing only 39% of the public space to the cars. Fortunately, after the first 5 years, the Sustainable Mobility and Public Space Plan, it seems we have succeeded in reversing the rising trend of the private car use, and at this moment we are recovering the protagonism of the pedestrian displacement in the city, and we have decreased the use of the private car, improving a lot the use of the bicycle in the city, and at this moment Vitoria-Gasteiz is the city with the highest use of bicycle for the urban mobility in Vitoria. The fourth has been After the successful redesign in the public transport network, the focus nowadays is in the consolidation of the active mobility network. For instance, in the bicycle mobility network. Here, the idea is to extend the network up to 150 kilometers of segregated bike lanes, but the effort we consider should be a focus to consolidate the superblock scheme as soon as possible and to recover calm roads for the bicycles. This is the basic idea in the approach of the bicycle strategy in the city. Here you have the main bicycle network that is the focus of the bicycle master plan of the city. The same is the same idea we are trying to apply with the pedestrian network. The idea is to try to use the framework of the superblock scheme in order to improve the possibilities of the pedestrian network, of the walkability in the city, using as much as possible the inner streets, the calm streets. The active mobility is in the focus of the city and it's a value to preserve, but here we have a problem with the important growth in the use of the bicycle in the city. At this moment we have a conflict, a growing conflict between pedestrians and cyclists, because many of the new cyclists are trying to use the sidewalks because they are considering unsafe to use the road. Here the idea is to try to recover the road for the cyclists, and in order to establish this new scenario, we decided to implement during the last fall the road revolution I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, that is to establish a pilot area in the city center with 47 new streets where we have implemented low-cost interventions in order to improve the road safety for pedestrians and cyclists and to reduce emissions of pollutants, and why not, to reclaim the space for the pedestrians. The idea is not to stop here. The idea is to extend the measure to all the city. And in the slide you have the map with the area of the intervention that's said in the city center, and a scheme that shows the type of intervention we have implemented. All of them low-cost intervention, mainly using painting and the public elements like being collectors or, for instance, the person from reduced mobility areas, and so on, to obtain a calm road, and in order to improve the permeability for the cyclists, we have decided to transform many of the one-way streets in the city center into two-way streets only for bicycles, recovering one of the lanes of those streets for the cyclists and inverting the direction of the traffic, but only for cyclists. The idea is to use this kind of intervention in order to reorient the cycling mobility towards non-conflicting itineraries with pedestrians in the city center. This is the idea we are trying to apply with intervention like this one shown in the picture, in the left side of the picture, with the before and after. Here you have many other pictures, some of them with low-cost intervention, but other ones, like the first one we have there, that it could be possible to be done after the restoration of the services on those streets. Here it's important to have a clear idea of the final design of the street in order to use the opportunities in order to continue working, in order to have the long-term scenario we have in the Sustainable Mobility and Public Space Plan. But for instance, in the bottom example, you have here a one-way street that been so width, it was possible to transform it in a two-way, only for bicycles street, that is really useful in order to connect and to complete the main bicycle network in the city. Here you have some other examples that were implemented only with painting, and that has transformed a lot the possibilities and improved a lot the possibilities for the bicycle in the connection between the city center and, for instance, the university campus. Here you have other examples, low-cost examples that are being implemented in this kind of revolution that has been applied in Vitoria during the last fall. Well, summing up, we decided to contribute with the consolidation of the Superblock scheme with a focus in giving back the public space to the citizen. And it seems, according to several indicators and the assessment we have done, the measure is running in the right way. For instance, here you have that at this moment we have an average reduction in the speed in the calm area, in the pilot calm area implemented during the last fall, of nearly 12%. It's a good rate, no? And road users, drivers and cyclists agree the measure is providing a safer road to be served. And this will allow us to preserve the pedestrian areas and to normalize the use of the road by the cyclists. For instance, here you have an example of a cartoonist of the main local newspaper, seeing that in the cartoon you can tell the speed of the cars has lowered very much in a funny way. Okay, it's a good example of the success in implementing this kind of measures. Here you have some of the results of the assessment that we are doing in order to have an idea of the utility of the measure for the citizens, and nearly 62% of the residents have not noticed the traffic calming in the 47 streets in the city center. Many of the users are passing the utility of the measure, and car drivers and riders consider the traffic along their journey to the place of work and study allows them ride the bicycle on the road with cars in a safer way than before. And that's all. Let me conclude with this another cartoon that shows in a good way the spirit of the measure we try to implement. These two citizens are talking together, walking on the street, that the measure has been a masterstroke. Cyclists do not bother on the sidewalks, and cars do not fit on the road. That is the spirit of the measure and the intervention. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Juan Carlos. I think it's very extremely interesting to look at how we can sometimes think about how to implement a plan starting from a concept. It seems to me that you really use the concept of the Superblock to build up on this concept three different networks. I can maybe imagine the network for main roads, then a network for pedestrians, and the network for cyclists, and also improvements in public transport. So it's really an holistic approach, and I'm taking some references from your initial part of the presentation. It's just in having this idea of giving not only priority, but also designing the networks for all different users. And it clearly creates not a conflict, but the need of having roads that are safer for every user group. So it's a nonsense to act differently. It seems also to me that in some, so I don't know, this is what I understood from your approach, that you started also in having a different, let's say, a more light approach in designing the bike lanes or bike paths. But when some conflicts arise, for example, from between pedestrians and cyclists, then in that moment you had the idea of having a more, let's say, hard intervention on roads and keep out bikes from the sidewalk and to recover some space on the road. So the conflict is in their case more cars and bicycles. I've seen that you, in some of the pictures that you have shown us, I don't know if you can come back to some of the photos, of the examples. Yeah, but just like this, that a lot of parking slots have been removed. It seems that it's really a change, a big change. So my question is, how have you faced this very, very sensitive approach? Every time in a European city you have to remove also a single parking slot, so to put a bin, for example, there's always some problems. So I don't know, have you applied a particular strategy also to take into account the needs of residents? Could you give us some information about these particular sensitive aspects, please?
Yes, Cosimo, thank you. Yes, absolutely. It's clear the importance of this sensitive aspect. In this way, we consider it was needed to determine clearly the offer-demand balance in parking spaces previously, and to have a clear idea about the situation in each of the areas to be transformed. And unfortunately, it was clear that there was no problem of parking offer in many areas of the city. It's true that the former situation was like in the picture that shows, for instance, this big transformation with two parking lines, both sides of the street, and a small traffic jam in a street, and suddenly how this street has changed totally. But for instance, this is one of the areas where, according to the assessment we did, it was clear that it was lower demand than the offer of parking areas, if you consider the parking areas on the street, but also the private parking areas for the residents in the area. Many of the cars parked there probably were cars not belonging to the residents in the area, and it was a result of the big offer of parking areas in this neighborhood that in the end produce and a higher use of the private car than they needed. So the parking policy is one of the strategies in order to change the mobility in the city. It's a question of mobility demand, and taking into account the offer for the residents in the area, it was decided to accommodate the offer to this demand, to this local demand, and trying to change and to manage the mobility demand in the city. So clearly we did this kind of assessment, and we started working recovering the parking places in the areas where the demand was lower than the offer. That's true.
Okay.
But it's possible. It's a question of political will, and it's a question also of political consensus. It's difficult, yeah.
But it's clear that before acting directly in planning a new street, or also thinking about project or how to transform a street, you need to do this assessment. So you need to know how many parking slots are really needed for the residents, and how many are maybe on a higher level and might be also removed. So it's important also to have this assessment, this analysis. And also another aspect is related to the usage of this low-cost intervention, because you get a lot of use of paints and other horizontal signals. So apart from the image that I see here on the top of the slide, it seems that for the other solutions you can do it in a very quick manner. So no need for investing years for and money for new, let's say, new sidewalks, etc.
Okay,
I don't know if we have another question for the
public. We have a question. I'm happy to announce a question from Sarah Martins, one of our participants. Sarah, I give you the floor for your question.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. Hi everyone. I'm Sarah Martins from Mobile 21 in Belgium, and I was wondering, I really like the approach in Victoria Gasteiz, but how do you combine the approach of the superblocks with the one-way streets that you've shown us, where the bicycles can ride in both directions? So basically my question is this kind of one-way street something that you would apply within a superblock, or is it also something that you do on the main roads between the superblocks?
No. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
No, the idea is to establish a main bicycle network, and this main bicycle network will fix more or less with the main basic road for the private traffic. The idea is to establish, let's see, for the, yeah, here you have, for instance, on the left, here you have the main bicycle network that has been proposed by the bike master plan of the city, and the idea is to work from the right situation, from the right map situation, to this ideal main network with 150 kilometers of protected bike lanes, in order to provide a functional and fast option for riders to cross and to go from one point to another point in a quick and safe way in the city. But the idea is to work at the same time in calming the rest of the streets, the rest of the roads in the city, with the idea in the long term to have high quality designs. For instance, the kind of designs you have in the top right picture here, with this kind of interventions, but the idea is not to stop due to the crisis in implementing this long-term strategy and try to accomplish with low-cost interventions to accomplish the superblock strategy as soon as possible in order to continue in the strategy adopted by the city. So the idea is with this kind of low-cost intervention, if it is possible, because the width of the street allows it, to implement two-way streets in order two-way streets for the bicycles, in order to give the bicycles a priority over the cars in the calm areas, and also using the new design of the road as a way of calm the traffic. This is the idea. I'm not sure if I've answered your question properly. So,
Yes. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
So it seems that you can also have this traffic calming intervention by using, just in painting the streets, not only in having wider sidewalks, and you don't need to stop your ambitious, also due to the financial reasons, etc., because there are a lot of solutions that you can implement. Juan Carlos, many thanks for your presentation. I think it's extremely interesting, and in each of these streets might be a case study. So to analyze the before and after situation, and also the different approaches and studies and assessments you did for having the final results. But it's really impressive. And I think we can maybe give also more space to Vittoria, to all the members and participants who would like to have more details on it. I don't know, Chiara, if there are other questions from the public, or if we can pass to the...
No, there is no further questions, so I would give the floor to Damien. Damien, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So I give
thanks
you
a
the...
lot to Juan Carlos for your presentation. And
Thank you, Cosimo. Thank you very much.
thanks.
So Damien, I'm giving you the presentation, the presenter.
Okay, let's wait for Damien. Oh, yes. Let me just introduce Damien Garrigue from Nantes Métropole. It was the experience of Chronobus was another extremely interesting example on how starting from another point, so from the need of improving classic bus lines, and exactly the Chronobus now gives a very good example of how maybe all classic bus lines can have a different operational program and a different approach in running their service. But it's also important because starting from this experience, from this need, there's also the possibility to improve a lot the availability of public space and calming traffic in other roads. It's also there are some interesting examples that Nantes implemented, especially in the road use. So I give the microphone to and the floor to Damien, who will show us more in detail the Chronobus example. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Cosimo. So I'm Damien Garrigue from Nantes Métropole. I work in a big city in the west of France, and in the conurbation we have nearly 600,000 inhabitants. What is important is that my company, Nantes Métropole, the Greater Nantes, has got a lot of competencies which were given by the cities. We have 24 cities, and they gave a lot of competencies to Nantes Métropole, and particularly mobility, transport, and public space and roads. That means that if we want to add on the road, we have the competence to do it and to decide how we will affect the public space for public transport, for pedestrians, for cyclists. So it's easier to work, and when the decision is taken, we can act directly. Some figures. I'm working in public transport, so I have a lot of figures about public transport, but we have in France a specific tax that helps us to finance the development of public transport, and we tax the companies on their salarial mass, and the tax is about 2%. We have a network, public transport network, very busy, and now we overpass the 125 million of passengers this year. That's been 208 trips per inhabitants per year. We have a rolling stock of buses, trams, with specificity. We use natural gas for most of our buses. And we develop also a network with park and ride facilities. And around Nantes, we have more than 6,000 spaces. So this is our main network with tramway lines. We have at this time 3 tramway lines and 1 busway. I will have a few words about this line of bus, which is a little bit special, and 7 chronobus lines, which are our new concept in Nantes. So Nantes was the first city in France to reintroduce a modern tramway in 1985, and we developed progressively the tramway network. But for the 4th line, the cost of the tramway was very, very high. So we decided to design a project with a bus as a main vehicle for transporting people. But the design was made as a tram design.